Congratulations, everyone,
Do we level up?
on completing Cormyr Echoes of War. Hello, everybody.
Hello, DM Dan.
Hi, it is me, DM Dan, and it is you, the Explorers of Elsewhere.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a hot minute since we wrapped things up in the Cormyr Echoes of War campaign, and I'm so glad that none of you were traumatized to the point where you didn't want to return for this final little sit and chat debrief. So I'm glad you're all here. I mean Anton, Elle, Julia, Carl, Tilda, Matt. I can see that you're all looking well. Matt, in particular, you're looking particularly been hitting the gym, so it's good that
you look very refreshed.
Yes, much more refined than you
I
normally
think the
do.
break did well for you. Yeah.
I can see that your life's a lot more in order. Clearly, this isn't Matt. This is
What? I've been lied to.
we unfortunately Matt can't be with us today, so I've recast Matt. Yeah. And yes, here we have Staff, who I think holds the title for #1 fan of the Cormyr Echoes of War campaign. I think last time I checked, I'm pretty sure there is at least one comment on every video. So for that,
apart from one, which I finished a few minutes ago. But yeah.
Okay. There you go. That puts a date on it. But
I mean, you still have all the tavern videos to go through as well, so
this is true.
Plenty of time to start.
Only
commenting.
some of them. I've watched most. Some of them.
Oh,
yes.
There you go.
But yes, I just wanted to gather us all together, just have a little sit and chat. Staff, I give you the authority to speak for the rest of the world in regards to this campaign. You are
honoured to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you for more than welcome and more than happy to have you. So, as of the date of recording for the finale, it was 2 years pretty much to the day that we recorded episode 1.
Really?
Yeah, episode 1
Amazing.
of the Lost Files.
Oh right.
Oh right. Okay.
I believe. Yes. 2 years. 2 years. So yeah, the Cormyr campaign, for anyone who is kind of out of the loop, was actually once all said and done, 89 episodes long, plus one shots and tangents and whatnot. And the first half of it we played offline before we decided to transfer to YouTube and kind of share it with all of you lot. But yeah, it's been a journey, right?
Has been.
Um,
Dan, I have a few questions for you. And I think main interest, what was the inspiration for the Cormyr campaign, or where did the idea start?
So when I was young, I stubbed my toe on a doorpost, and all of that hate and pain and rage turned into this campaign.
It turned into a manfly. Yeah.
So so Cormyr has always been a bit of an interesting subject for me. I think my first real encounter with it was like one of the 4th edition like subclass is Paragon Paths, and it was like a purple dragon banneret or something along those lines.
I do remember back in the old campaign, you and me talked about the old 4th edition. You mentioned Cormyr a couple of times.
Yeah.
No, you did talk about how one day you would love to do a campaign Cormyr.
Yeah, because I mean, when it comes to Forgotten Realms, there's a lot of stuff that happens on the Sword Coast or Sword Coast adjacent, and I thought there's just so many regions to the east of the Sword Coast, and yeah, Cormyr was one of them. And it's just like when you read into it, like the elevator pitch of Cormyr is just like proper, like almost Arthurian fantasy, like soldiers and knights and dragons and wizards. Like it's almost weirdly, it's almost like too standard. If that makes sense.
I feel like you turned that upside down.
Then turned upside down, yeah,
especially by the end of the campaign.
Yes, yeah, for sure, for sure. I
Hopefully
mean,
at some point.
yes, yeah, right. I mean, Julia and Anton, you can attest to this. When we finished playing Prince of the Apocalypse, one of the suggestions that we threw out for like our next campaign in person before the big sneeze was I suggested, oh, what about Cormyr? But separately, I was also like, I'd really like to do a campaign that's got Mind Flayers and Githyanki, because those are two races within the D&D mythos just aren't represented. They're not really shown, right? Like everyone knows what a Mind Flayer is, but no one really gets to play with them as like a campaign baddie. And then I got about we're a few weeks before recording episode 1, and then this small indie game called Baldur's Gate 3 released its trailer.
And you're like, I want that for my players.
No, I was like, no, everyone's going to think I copied it. That's
Oh.
but yeah,
No,
I
boss.
yeah. So there was a like it was just a beautiful, like a perfect setup, wasn't it? Like we all suddenly found ourselves with a lot of time. I had a campaign. I had multiple campaign ideas, and I thought, oh hell, let's just mush them together. And yeah, I'm really, really thankful that you lot put up with my bullshit.
Yeah, amazing.
2 odd years.
Such an
Thank you.
amazing campaign.
But yeah, I mean, you lot are like, in terms of the campaigns, like, what would you say were like your standout moments, either for like yourselves or for someone else, or just the plot as a whole, or like feed my ego? What was the...
I really liked the Balthazar Birds and the Bees chat with his gnomes.
The nuts and bolts chat.
The nuts and bolts chat. That was because it was I think it was like, sorry, what's the word? A part 2, not part 2, episode 2 or 3 or 4 of the campaign, and that was the moment Balthazar talks with his parents, and the way you played the 2 gnomes was amazing.
They're 2 of my favorite characters, I think, of like the whole
Mixie and Ferret.
Yeah, they were. I was very, very proud of them, to be honest. But yeah,
when you were having the whole recovery of Balthazar's memories, I was looking up that video, like trying to get the lines in my head ready for as soon as it's like, and Carl, what do you do to recover Balthazar's memory?
Yes.
Verbatim.
Yeah, I'm really, really, if nothing else, like, moments like that. And I mean, arguably, we've had at least one moment like that throughout all the videos that were just kind of good enough that we could snippet them and release them as shorts, because that in itself was a bit of a kooky idea at the time to have these 1-minute shorts. But yeah, really, really, really chuffed with that. What about you, El?
Well, I've always quite enjoyed Hiram's kind of like family stories. I think it's always been quite touching, quite good. I mean, obviously there was like also the Emaras side of things, which was kind of, a lot of fun for us as, I think, players as it was kind of all developing.
Speak for yourself. It was stressful for me.
Yeah, I must admit, like the pre-YouTube days, the Silver Swords versus Emarasks story.
Will they, won't they?
Well, yes, culminating in a will they, won't they? That was.
Will they
that
be
was
killed?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that you're right. That was good.
I think also as well there was the hunt, the wild hunt. Wild Hunt, yeah, which also was off. Sorry, I'm going to use all the ones that haven't been recorded, and everyone's going to be like, "Ooh, what happened there?" But I think that was like a really great one as well, because of the fact it was like that first introduction to kind of like the sort of speed.
That was the first
battles,
chase, wasn't it? Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
The Warhounds going up against like crazy devotees of Malar, the Beast of the Hunt, who'd transported Iran's family to a divine demi-plane hunting ground that you lot had to chase them down in. Like, yeah, that was.
I am going to contradict you there. I think the first chase was when we had goblins chase our cart, like way back.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time we used a dynamic screen too, and it was just mind-blowing.
Yes.
And we saved Jik, and Jik became permanently cemented in our groups.
That was even before. Jik was when Magnus blew himself up.
Yes, but it was only when Jick was on the cart and we managed to get the goblins to free her, did at that point Jick take a liking to us.
Tell you what, I'm just going to quickly step in because every time Jick comes up, everyone seems to smile except for Anton. So,
Nope.
Staff,
Yep.
where do you sit on Jick? Like,
Fan favourite.
what is your disposition towards our hapless little goblin?
I just love how overpowered she is, to be honest with you. Like, blatantly the most powerful character in the entire campaign.
Right.
And yeah, just so unpredictable, brilliant. Yeah, no, fantastic creation. I felt like you've all had a hand in making her what she was.
Aw.
Well,
yeah, really cool.
It's very interesting you say that because, yeah, like she was a creation of the Warhounds for all intents and purposes. Jick originally never had a name. Jick was supposed to be a nameless goblin that gave a bit of exposition before failing their last death saving throw. But Katya and I believe Slate, like the Warhounds, healed this goblin with a broken leg. And it was one of those, oh no, Jick. Her name's Jick.
Every campaign needs one.
Yeah.
So early on in our kind of journey that it was just, I think there's a little bit of reluctance on your first, wasn't there? Just kind of like, but then just because of how much love there was immediately.
I think every DM gets a little bit worried when the party starts creating pets out of the NPCs. But I think Jick was. Unless you're asking Anton, I think Jick was a particular favourite of most people.
To be fair, wasn't it Anton that... Well, Anton, wasn't it you in Dragon Heist? Sorry, this is a completely separate campaign.
I adopted another
You
goblin
are the one who
called
adopted a throwaway goblin.
Right, nothing to do with
So for you
Jick.
to be so sniffy about Jick now is quite galling.
Jick and Zach are completely different
Okay.
characters. They're both
They
goblins.
don't
they're
have
both
incredibly
adopted.
similar dispositions or voices or anything. No. Okay.
I think what you asked, does anyone remember where the magical sneeze came in?
Yes,
I think it was the
came
first
in...
Christmas special.
Was
No,
it?
it was
I
before
thought it was
that.
the cart chase, wasn't it?
No, it was after the cart chase. It's when we found her in a camp and she'd become the camp's leader.
I'm pretty sure it was the cart chase because the whole point was that the goblins had tied her to a stake on the cart so that her magic could create magical effects during the chase.
I completely forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd have to go check the videos again, but
I realised I was forced to give her levels in some sort of class, and I realised, I think I wanted to be a caster. Goblins don't make very good wizards. I don't think anyone would have her to make her a warlock. She's definitely not the cleric type. Oh, I'll make her a sorcerer. I'll make her a wild magic sorcerer. I'll make her sneeze.
Honestly, I feel like we need to go back and re-record the first part of the story.
Right.
There's so many amazing moments.
trying to remember what we did.
I mean, there
I
was
have no idea.
there was that other small fry local D&D group that did a Kickstarter and raised 11.5 million to make a Amazon animated TV show. Well, we just do the same.
Let's just do that.
Yeah. Details of the Kickstarter will be down below in the description.
Yeah, but instead of Amazon Prime, it's going to be a puppet show.
Yes.
Different budget.
But honestly, I have now in my head that time travel. The Warhands get sent back to the beginning of the campaign, and they know they can't break the timeline, but none of us can remember what we have actually done.
I've just got a set of very extensive notes that I have to ring you lot through. Tilda, yeah. What was your highlight? Your campaign highlight?
I think it was the confrontation with the hunter when Balthazar cast Magic Circle at the end.
Yeah.
For me, that fight was fantastic.
Imagine.
Badger doing really well, and then your ghost just fucking things up for no good reason. And then the map blowing up, it was just really, really cool. And
That
also I just
was
love
amazing.
Balthazar casting a random spell, which really messed with your plans, I think. Dan?
You know what? Like the casting of Magic Circle, like it took me by surprise. But spoilers, I didn't actually have a solution for what was going to happen. So Anton, when you were like, "I'm going to cast Magic Circle," and I sat there and went, "Well, you know what? Yeah, fair play. Like that contains it."
That's good.
So yeah, that was really, really quick, like good and quick thinking on all of your parts. And yeah, Tilda, you're right. That episode was a lot to get to get through. I mean,
it was very chaotic. I remember, I think Katya and Slate were trying to save the eggs. I don't know what Hiram was doing. Badger was trying to save Shana. It was just madness all around. That was the first time Balthazar cast the Magic Circle, which created a loop that kept going on, which you never actually explained what happened.
What was the loop?
We just went into the halfling village right after, like, why you survived? They're like,
was it not a dream?
It was it was all a dream. We Dallased and went back to the start of the campaign. That encounter. Because I suppose that was the first time you properly met the hunter, wasn't it? And like, let's say properly.
First time we chatted.
First time First time we didn't open with the swinging of swords.
Yeah. And she was almost reasonable.
As all BBEGs should be. I mean, thinking about that episode, actually, one shout out I really want to do before we go any further. Like some of the maps that we've been playing on have been phenomenal. And we have Birdie Maps to thank for some of those beautiful creations.
Birdie Maps.
Yeah.
Thank you, Birdie Maps.
So like the Stormhorn Mountains, the underwater Netherese Tower, the Nautilid. So many. Yeah, they have been knocking it out of the park. And yeah, like since we first got together, since they were first on Tavern, they've just been going from strength to strength to strength. The stuff they've been coming out with is phenomenal. So if you haven't already, check out Birdie Maps. Again, I'll leave that in the description alongside the Kickstarter. Carl.
Oh, I have to say, like, I think a quite defining moment is a different fort, but the one that was in the Kingswood. I can't remember the name of it.
Lymira?
Fort Lymira?
Fort Lymira, yes.
The level 7 finale.
Yes, where just everything's going wrong, and just I think as characters, you know, we all were hyper competent. Like everything's going to shit around us, and we're just batting out the park with every ability we use, everything we do. Like Slate turning into the Auroch and just charging through everyone. Like Katya turning someone's own thoughts against them by using the mix of actor and telepathy, and the way Badger was running up walls and running across to sort of save Shana. Just everyone at that point was Renna.
And then Magnus.
And then, Magnus, who then, you know, decided he was going to be a hero. But I thoroughly enjoyed that fight. And to be honest, I enjoyed it the most when characters work together as well. Like we had a lot of times when two characters would team up and do something amazing in fights, or even in roleplay as well. Like the little friendships that were made between the characters were just really, really good. Like,
I do have to say, I think that was the episode when I think Badger had one of the most emotional moments for me. Like her admitting that, you know, I've never let anyone down before, and then letting Renna go. I thought that was very impactful for me.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It only took 6 red dragons, but we got there. We got there eventually.
You found out where the bar was for like fucks there.
Yeah. It's interesting actually. You should bring up that episode because mentioned earlier, Steph. You tell me off for not being cruel enough to my players. In my notes for that session, Magnus charged the hunter 1-on-1 combat. And I did that with the expectation I was going to kill Magnus.
God.
I'm so glad you didn't.
So glad.
Taking
Well,
my
Magnus
favourite moment
Magnus
away.
is my baby as well.
Here's the thing, like I tried, like I thought, I did practice runs, and Magnus was just jelly on the floor, like he was giblets. And then we came to the recording, and we had that scene Magnus running across to kind of buy you all time, and then
I just saved him.
and, well, no, like he just like the Hunter just started rolling 1s and 2s. Just Magnus just properly tanked the BBEG, and it came to the point where I was just like, you know what? Let's let the dice lie. Like Magnus doesn't want to exit the story right now, so we'll leave him in.
And thank God for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just think how much of a different trajectory the campaign would have been on if there wasn't a Magnus.
I mean, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have
I
had
don't
that.
think any
that-
change whatsoever, but
Oh,
We wouldn't have had
one of the
that epic
funniest
shot.
moments. Yeah, the funniest moment is like, the Magnus getting the spine network.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So,
It was
Dan,
Slightly
a-
short.
You're worried about
Magnus.
a bloody wooden leg.
Dan, can I just congratulate you on your Magnus impression? Because every single time it was spot on, and every time you played Magnus, I was just like, yes, well done, exactly, yes.
I don't know. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing that I can pull off Magnus so perfectly. But
To
yeah,
be fair, Magnus was very memorable.
Mm.
Like I was
He's a
genuinely really
character.
sad when you retired him. I love Balthazar, but Magnus was just,
Mm,
you know, the
Same
extra
to me.
spice in the group.
and I'm
Yeah,
glad
'cause-
Dan kept him on as an NPC.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
again for reference, in the 45 episodes before we went on YouTube, Anton played Magnus as a
Mm.
PC, and yeah, you voluntarily left the group when at the culmination of the level 6 finale to
Be with Raedra.
be with his,
Yeah.
his
His one
heart,
true love.
his one true love.
Well, that was, I don't know where that came from, but like the Rager Magnus romance speculation.
I think it was after Magnus ditched the Warhounds in favour of Raedra
Yeah.
and became
Probably.
her
And got a
second in
mustache.
command. I
Don't
think
forget,
that
it was like
Her boy toy, you mean?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That was very funny.
Julia, obviously, the fact that you're here is a bit of a surprise.
I guess so.
In
I
fact,
was in the campaign for a while.
you were in the campaign for a significant period of time. Yeah, that is true. But yeah, a surprise grand re-entrance.
Yeah, it was
That's
very
okay,
cool
great.
to get to come back for the last couple of episodes. Really enjoyed
Yeah, it was
that.
great.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, what would you say was Julia's top pick for the campaign?
Sort of the fun answer, I guess, is like I have such a soft spot for the war dogs, and I really love that they kept that they ended up being such a recurrent theme of the campaign, because they started as this really flippant, jokey idea of let's have a Shaun of the Dead style mirror image group, and they've all got punny kind of names based on our names and all that, and that was just fun.
Yeah.
But then the fact that they kept turning up, and the fact that then Jick teamed up with them, and yeah, it was just a nice use for those very beloved characters.
So yeah, I've always enjoyed the concept of like the Shaun of the Dead meeting in the street kind of thing, where you just see like your mirror opposites kind of stood up against you, and I took great pleasure designing those characters to be like twisted reflections of you all. So like some of them more obvious than others, like Bodger and Badger.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, is a very British joke. I think
Very, very, very
international viewers may not get that as much.
Yeah, that's true. But originally, when Magnus was kicking around, we had Magnus and Opum.
And I didn't get it at first. Like, why is Opum? And then you're like, Magnus Opum? I'm like, oh, there we go,
Yes.
got it now.
So whereas Magnus was a wizard with a level of cleric.
Magnamorphous?
Yeah,
That Magnamorphous?
Yes.
that's the yeah.
I've only just realised that. I'm just sitting here like,
I'm trying not to react.
It was a deep cut. But yeah, like Magnus being wizard with one level of cleric, and Opum being a cleric with one level of wizard, which is a terrible combination, by the way. Never do that. Slate being this kind of cheeky, like shapeshifter, stood off against this species undefined shadow creature with no face, that just got to float around, just being this kind of agent of chaos. Hiram and Malka, the the begrudging parents of their respective nurseries of players. Obviously, the soon to be shipped Katya and Midnight Raven, because every group needs an edgy bard.
One of the most hilarious things is how angry Midnight Raven made Katya. And Carl, I suspect.
Hey, Carl.
Like, Midnight Raven is my jick.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when he arrived, I needed a like an opposite for Zumbo. So yeah, Steph, I don't know if you like watching through it, like if you saw what was his name? What was the kobold's name?
Mungo, wasn't it?
Mungo.
Mungo.
Like, yeah, Mungo,
Poor
and then
Mungo.
arguably later Jick. But the gist behind that, Zumbo's actually one of like many siblings. So Zumbo, like Zumbo, Jumbo, Dumbo, Mumbo, and they're all part of the Marrow Fat family, and Matt usually plays them in one shots. So that was his thing. It was just like, oh yeah, if Zumbo dies, then I'll just grab one of the brothers or sisters. And I just kind of sat there and went, because when he first said, I'm going to play a rogue warlock and it's going to be a fathomless and it's going to be a swashbuckler, and I kind of sat there going, I don't really. And when he spelt it out, I kind of went, oh, okay, yeah, you're a eldritch pirate. Okay, got it. But I still sat there and went, that's a really odd. It's an odd class combination that works surprisingly well. So then that was the most technical one. Like, who's Zumbo's opposite? I need a class combination that you say it out loud and people look at you as if you just like farted. But actually you spell it out and go, oh, yeah. So that's where a swarm keeper, ranger, artificer came in.
Yep. I don't know where you went with that character then. Gumbo, whatever the name is. I was like, what? Why is that the opposite? I think you went a bit too far down the rabbit hole on that one.
Well, it was just the idea that
it solved itself, didn't it?
Solved itself, yeah.
Oh, poor.
That was so funny.
Um,
He just got eaten by rats.
It's horrifying.
It was but I think it was meant to be a bit of an, oh my god, they killed Mungo kind of moment, wasn't it? And then the next one would come in and also get killed in a ridiculous way.
Yeah, because I mean the joke was going to be that this kobold would turn up, get killed. The next time you met the war dogs, be replaced by one of the kobold's siblings. So he was Mungo, and then there was going to be a Mango and a Mengo and a Mingo and a Mungo, like Mongo, and basically just be the same character, but just like a different one each time, and just kill them off each time you bump into them. But no, I think one and done. One death was all right. And yeah, I guess last but not least, Staff not Matt, as spokesman for Planet Earth. What would you say was your favourite part in the?
It would be anything involving this character you haven't mentioned yet.
Oh,
I think a
Betty.
rival to Jick, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
This is not the real Betty, because Betty's on a business trip at the moment.
Yeah.
Not staying on my shoulder either. I think Betty was amazing. A great creation from Matt, and I think the way that you were warmed to what Betty did, despite the fact it was completely and utterly random most of the time, was fantastic throughout. But also, I think the group psychology as a viewer is something that I really am interested in with D&D. And I think the ongoing who's the real leader, like running understory, was fantastic. Just like, I mean, officially it was Badger, but then Zumbo thought he was and said he was, and everyone went along with it.
And here I'm often
And-
sort of was de facto actually leading a lot of the time.
Just brilliant. That
I
was a
think
running
Hiram was
story.
less a leader and more just a dad.
Yes. But I suppose you also then had Slate going around being like, no, I'm the queen.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, Slate the Queen.
I don't think Zumbo was in charge at any given point, right? I think
Oh, but
Badger was. And Zombo thought he was, and
I think Catcher after like Badger died, I think Catcher definitely would have put her stock in with Zumbo because of her friendship with him.
Yeah.
okay.
Also, I think Zumbo was more in charge emotionally speaking. Like he might not have made all the decisions when it came to combat or what we did, but when it came to just making sure everyone felt appreciated and part of the group, but that was more Zumbo.
Yeah.
True.
While we speak about Zumbo, obviously, as much as they look alike, Matt isn't here tonight, but you wouldn't really know it to just watch the YouTube. But Matt actually came in at level 7. He was a new player that we added to the mix, and I feel that the fact that Matt just came in, picked it up like flawlessly, and I think by the time we got to the end of the first or second session, I don't think we could have imagined the Warhounds without him, without Zumbo anymore. So I really want to give a shout out to Matt because he handled that perfectly. Because adding new players,
really good job with the character.
Yeah, adding new players partway
It's
is
just funny as well.
yeah.
He had the delusion perfectly down, but also, as you say, he has that heart and soul that kind of comes with like helping each other and
good one-liners as well.
That scene
Absolutely.
with him and Badger though, and it's like, Badger sort of like sends him on his way, and it's just it was heartbreaking.
And the will they, won't they moment at the very end with the squeezing of the hand, where no words were said, but everyone knew what was going on. Oh, my heart just ripping apart, That was just perfect roleplay, and nothing really happened, but for those 10 seconds, so much emotion.
Everything happened, yeah.
Definitely.
Me and Matt had actually planned an epilogue, but unfortunately the way the finale worked out, and not far enough in the future for it to happen. So me and Matt were speaking about one that.
What was it going to be?
Well, Catcher was going to buy him a boat, so he would have met like a 20-something-year-old Catcher. She would have taken him to Waters Deep, where in the docks there was a boat called the Badger.
Adorable.
And she would basically say, "It's yours. You can do what you want with it." And she was just like, and she gives him basically his journal, and she's like, "It's time to start adding new pages."
That's canon now. That is what was going to happen after campaign ends.
Dan, I don't know if we'll have the time, but I would love to have a little moment if we could speak about their character, like where they started and where they ended, just to see kind of the emotional, journey that each character has had. Can we touch base on that quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's work backwards this time. So Matt, tell me all about the intricate emotional.
No, you could do that. Yeah.
I mean, well, I suppose actually, like joking aside, you've kind of touched on it. Like as a viewer, seeing Zumbo evolve from effectively episode 1 to the end of the campaign. What, like, have you got any like?
The thing that jumps out for me is when Zumbo reached out to Hiram about the fear of water. Like the most I mean, obviously, forgive me if I got the connection wrong, but I thought that was the most unlikely person in the group to reach out to about that particular topic, and yet it just worked so well for Zumbo because it was an unlikely candidate to speak to about the water. And the way Hiram dealt with it and got him through it at the end of the day was just superb. So I think that in itself was a big progression for Zumbo. And like we've already said, the way he dealt with, he knew he wasn't really the leader, but he'd found a group of people that would go along with it enough for him to still play it. Maybe not. Yeah.
If he keeps on saying it enough, saying it often enough, and no one disagrees, then it's just fact. Yes, no, that is a very good observation. Julia.
Badger's sort of arc.
Yeah.
Are we talking about from the beginning of the YouTube series or even before that?
Yeah. No. Let's go from episode 1. Yeah, level 3.
So Badger, I guess her main arc has been kind of going from just kind of almost quite naively just wanting to help everybody and just kind of having this very black and white idea about that there's the right thing and there's the wrong thing, and I always want to do the right thing, and it kind of realizing that in this complicated and sort of politically complicated, socially complicated world she found herself in, that just wasn't workable. So that was part of it, was sort of learning a little bit of nuance in terms of how she approaches problems and like human and people problems, whilst also still maintaining her general optimism and desire to do good, and also coming into her own as a leader. I think that was the big arc, really. After she was so when Badger was elected leader, which was before the YouTube days, I believe, she didn't really understand why people wanted her to lead the group. I don't think she really saw that for herself, but then gradually embracing it over time, and then sort of that really culminated, I think, in the scene on the
Nautilid.
The Nautilid, yeah. When she kind of took that sacrifice on in order to save Renner, and I think that was just a completely automatic decision on her part, because there was nothing else she could have done in that at that point. But also, I think that was, for me, I think that was when I think that's when she really realized she was the leader at that final moment.
Yeah.
She was definitely the big sister to everyone, I think.
Yeah, because I suppose, you like taking that kind of giddy, I'm going to help everyone optimism, having it kind of beaten and bashed around by the world, like by the campaign, but in that moment, stepping back up and going, no, this is why, like, this is how we help, and like, giving Renner the necklace. Carl, before we went after on Katya.
Katya's emotional journey, my goodness. I mean, she started out as an untrusting, rage-filled girl who was after nothing but revenge.
No, we want the things that are different from the beginning and then.
But no, I mean, she got a little taste of the revenge and found it unsatisfying, and then through Magnus's tutoring, started to trust the Warhounds more, and then with the development of her psychic powers, she started to become, she became part of the team, became part of the family, and started letting everyone in, started to trust them, started to let them trust her again, because burning down a tavern for some reason doesn't do much for your party's trust in you. But by the end, I think she'd become very sort of grounded. Like, she wasn't chasing the revenge anymore. She was just there because she understood there was a bigger picture, and I think by the end of it, she'd become very confident. She was still a bit cheeky because she was still sort of just slowly turning into an adult at that point, but by the end she saw a venture ahead of her, and wanted to do as Badger did and help everyone she could. So she left for the Sword Coast. But I liked her progression from being just the angry person, the reserved, quiet person, to actually being quite open, quite kind, quite compassionate and empathetic, and also being sort of, everyone's not literal, but their emotion, their mental hub to bring them all together, to bind them like they've never been bound before, to create that little chat room for them. So they were literally in each other's heads because of her, and hopefully saw themselves as a family as a result of it. And she always wanted to do little things for everyone, like Zumbo's new leg, or diving into the mind of Balthazar to learn who he really was, trying to be friends with Slate and enjoy their sort of chaotic energy together, and try to be a better person to show Hiram that she was responsible. So she was an interesting journey and a lot of fun to play as.
That's good.
One of the things I really appreciate with Katya is the relationship she had with Magnus, and they kind of had a sibling relationship, I think.
Yes.
By the end of it, and also she then lashed on to Magnus's family, that Magnus kind of had a difficult relationship with, and actually Katya was like, no, you should make the most of this because I don't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to imagine, we didn't have the chance to do this in the epilogue, but I like to imagine that Magnus' family would have adopted Katja if informally into like their
She
little
would
family.
have happily accepted, like, because in the finale she bought the Dragons Rider Club and the house next door for Magnus's family. So
That's
yeah,
right.
I would have happily, like, in my head canon, she comes back to Césaire every sort of year or so to have like dinner with the family.
Yeah,
that's right.
I find it quite interesting about Katja is that, like, the more powerful she became, the more soft she became, like, because she didn't have that fear anymore, because she learned to like overcome it in a physical way, as in terms of like how she could actually face those fears, but like in doing that meant that she could actually open up and be more.
Yeah, as a good way of looking at it, I like that. Yeah.
Tilda, where did Papa Hiram start and finish?
Oh boy. I do remember he started he was full of fear and insecurities when we started. And then the pre-YouTube season ended with him being like ultra traumatized by losing Emily quite brutally. So he was dealing with that whole, not feeling like he belonged with his family, then not really trusting himself to be a good teacher to Emily, to actually losing Emily, and then actively trying to become better while dealing with the repercussions of that trauma himself.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of it, he felt like he was really, really part of something. Like he really was attached to the group. And I think he was better at navigating that tightrope of teaching Emily how to survive on her own, but also not putting her into unnecessary battles if it can be avoided. Which sometimes it couldn't be.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, she had to be there. You can't shelter her from everything. But there is a point where I have to say, like, and this is where you can't follow me because you aren't going to be the future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And also there are one minor revelation about
It's a tiny, small one.
Yeah, late game
Mom.
revelation for Hiram.
Who is Mom?
Yes. I mean, at least now the two of them get to know Hiram's other family.
Yeah. But also, you got a shiny sword, didn't you?
Oh my god, I will never forgive you how you revealed that to me, by the way, because that was not recorded. But the fight after Hiram picked up Oberskier, Dan messaged me like, "Did you read the description of some of the of the sword?" And I'm like, yeah. And I realized, no, I didn't. There was like an extra line I just completely skipped.
Yeah, the one that says this only activates by those of the bloodline of House Oberskier.
I think I actually heard from like the other room, just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. In a campaign like Cormyr with loads of noble houses, if anyone who chooses the noble background should fully expect the DM to go,
yes,
which house are you part of again?
Are you?
I was just going to say, never have I seen a D&D player so annoyed when they are offered grandiosity and like really important plot lines. Like, what do you mean my family's been kidnapped? What do you mean I'm of the royal bloodline? Oh!
In my defense,
so funny.
The whole Silver Sword saga was incredibly like awful when you think about it.
Yeah.
Just constantly like one of his childhood friends turning against him and trying to actively murder him.
Yeah, kind of.
I think that's what's also really fun about Hiram is, even though he's a noble, even though he's a knight, he still kind of comes across as an everyday man. Just like, I don't want to have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like,
Hiram is the meme of the person just stood in a field, like, what is this shit? Like, what is happening? But yeah, that was when Garabrail wasn't an ally. That was some spicy times for Hiram. Yeah, very interesting.
Well,
stuff.
fake Garabrail.
Faux Braille, Flayer Braille was actually the nickname I gave him. When the fake Garabrail was actually an intellect devourer. From memory, Slate's your first like long-term character, right?
Longest, well, yeah. I mean, before that was just WoW at what was that, about maybe like less than about half a year, maybe
Year and a half, yeah, about
Oh,
that.
okay.
year
it
and a
was.
half. But we didn't have nearly as many opportunities to play, so I think it was much shorter campaign in that sort of sense. So definitely a long time for me is in terms of like learning about a character and learning how to develop it. So I think I feel like I started off with Slate, Slate as a changeling in a sort of world. You would let me be a changeling when there wasn't really that in the lore, so that was nice. But like because of that, we had to build in, that it's not normal. So why would that be? How would that be? I was like, oh, and you kind of weren't sure. Well, that means I've got plenty of things to do here.
Yeah.
So Slate in terms of how they started off was they basically just left home, which was living with a rambling druid, and not really having much interaction with others, which is quite different to what changelings usually do, I think, which is to like to be different, like to switch, not to always stay the same. So it was a big teenage angst kicking off, leaving home, running away, going and doing exactly the opposite of what their parent figure had kind of set for them, which was just to go and try and be part of the court's nobility and everything. That just be more social.
Yeah.
And then kind of actually resolving by kind of realizing actually sometimes it is nice to do the things that you kind of grew up with, to realize that that's a part of you. Kind of just, I don't know, it's a sort of a big self-acceptance vibe, I think, for Slate.
100%, yeah. Because it felt, when the original Slate almost felt like they were running. I mean, they literally were, weren't they? They literally ran away from home. But yeah, certainly by the time we got to the end of it, I feel like Slate just became this really kind of multifaceted, developed character, because like the character of Slate was kind of reached out in so many directions, and I think you're able to bring that in really well, actually. So
my favorite Slate moment is the sickle, like when you first got the sickle and you were trying to deal with it, and you gave it to Hiram and shit got real.
Oh dear. Yeah, I feel like Slate was more of a liability than more than most.
If it makes you feel better, I have to say that moment and the bathtub moment is when I feel like Hiram probably should not help. Because it never ends well for him.
Last but not least, Anton. So arguably you played Balthazar. Well, I suppose, you get a twofer, don't you? Let's start with Balthazar. So Balthazar's introduction to the finale. How do you feel that went?
So into the game, you mean into the campaign?
Yeah, like throughout.
So Balthazar's arc was all about courage and finding his courage, because he's a itty bitty halfling, timid, in a big warforged destructor body. And so when I played with Balthazar at the beginning of the campaign, he was all like scared to get in and afraid to cast spells and didn't really know what to do. And then he was like, wait a minute, I'm in a big boy body and I can do things and I can be what I want to be. And then he just became sort of unstoppable. And like especially at the end fight, he was on a roll. He was a machine. I found he was like not scared of anything. He was like, this Beholder's gonna, whatever it was, Mind Flayer's gonna die. And I dropped inside the Balthazar's backstory. I dropped a few nuggets, because he had amnesia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a bit of a trope, but and then the fact that he was a halfling, didn't know that at the beginning. The fact that he was a war wizard, didn't know that at the beginning. And most importantly, the fact that he had a wife, completely forgot about that. And the main reason for that was just, I thought it would be quite funny that the last thing he remembers is the most important thing he has. And I 100% did not expect you to bring his wife into the game, Dan.
Hey, it's in the backstory, so it's viable canon fodder. So
I gave it to you. And so the marriage scene or the renewal of vows was very sweet.
yeah, that was very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much Balthazar. So I really enjoyed his arc in the way at the end he was just the machine he was meant to be, basically. But still very Hofflingy.
So to do a quick pivot, and I appreciate that I had him for the second half, but yeah, how do you feel like Magnus's development from level 3 to campaign end went?
Before.
Just a perfect arc, I think. It's just a perfect continuation. Because Magnus is very competent, but there's some things he lacks, and I don't know what it is. It's like common sense, maybe.
He's the definition of high intelligence, low wisdom, isn't he? Like,
that might be it. Like, there's something he does very well, and another thing he does really, really badly. So his spy network was probably very elaborately well set up, but everybody knows it's a spy network, right? so there's something went wrong there.
He's I think I thought that Magnus's arc in the first season, if you will, was really well developed because he started off as such an obtuse,
very
solid
arrogant.
kind of very arrogant guy that kind of really sort of slowly kind of learned to kind of be part of the team, as not just to kind of like push forward the leading, but like also to kind of that kind of thing where it's always like, oh, strong leader like leads even though you weren't leader, but like a strong leader kind of works with the team rather than, and I think that's kind of what happened with Magnus.
And that was part of deliberately done as part of his background, because he started off as a soldier, right? And so he had this narrow-minded view of like things and people and the way things were run. And especially, I think with Slate and Katja probably had the most impact on him. And it was like accepting them and being okay with who they are, and that was a huge part of his journey, I think, as a person. It's connecting with them.
It's not recorded because you could draw a line and show that point, because you could definitely see it. I remember me and Tilda were talking about it when it happened, but you could definitely feel that point where Magnus suddenly changed from being like, this is it, this is business, stoic, to suddenly to warming up. And I remember just like seeing that progression and that change in him. It
was like a realization of why he was fighting, or like who he was fighting for. Because like you're absolutely right, like Katya and Slate, arguably the most like polar opposite end of the spectrum to the war wizards he would be fighting alongside, like against the Netherese Empire and the Sembian vassals and like, and then to go, oh no, actually, like these children like they
adults
are
by Cormyrian standards,
but like they're the reason we fight, right? Like, and I think it was in the level 6 run up to level 6 finale when you were yomping through Suzail trying to stop all-out war between Cormyr and Cormanthal. There was, I think, it was surprising to see that kind of moment between Magnus and Katya. And that, because like he almost stepped in as like the father figure in a sense, but just seeing him step up.
And I think his relationship with Hiram was also very important, because Hiram was his like parallel, was his was his best friend really, but they mirrored each other in a similar way, and by being that fighter character, and so having that support was important for him, because that was his anchor, I think, not him to do the rest.
Do you feel like Magnus's growth was all about empathy? And I think that carried on to the second part of the story too, because even I know I drag Magnus a lot in the game for leaving us for Raedra, but even siding with Raedra is his first big choice of empathy, of looking at the person who has been his leader for so long and say like, no, you are in the right here. And that just carries on through the whole campaign, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I think as a group of characters, they were all gifts for me to meddle with.
Gifts? Those big elephants?
No, so yeah, I appreciate all of you for kind of making and playing the characters you did and the ways that you played them as well. I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah,
And I think
what amazing stories.
Questions yet, Dan?
Sorry?
What was your favorite moment, and who was your favorite NPC? What was your favorite NPC?
Who's
character?
your favorite character, Dan?
Yeah,
Tell
who's
us
your favorite
now.
character?
No, NPC specifically.
PC character, yes.
while Dan's thinking, I just wanted to say one of my favorite things about having Dan as a DM is how good he is at weaving people's character ideas and backstories into the stories of the campaign. I think it makes it feel so personal for us as players.
And especially all the NPCs. Because one of my favorite moments is the Mass Effect moment, just in the penultimate episode, where all our allies come to help us and save us. I was like, hold on a minute. Did Dan make up all these characters? I was like, yes. And like, I don't know, 50 characters that all came along. I was like, these are all Dan's. It was amazing.
And it's all ones that you're actually really grateful to see as well. So it's like, you know, they've had an effect on you. So you've managed to create characters that are not just, you know, it's not just your NPCs. I'm kind of glad we'd have definitely lost.
But I also loved how, you know, when the portals kept opening and we guys like, oh yeah, we forgot about them. But listening back to an episode, like we mentioned all of them when we are planning, when we are pre-planning. Like there is no one who turns up who we don't mention. Like we could reach out to them. We could talk to them, and Magnus and Renna and the rest of them say like, yeah, we can reach out, we can make that happen, and then it does happen.
Really cool moment.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that I was really proud of that bit. I must admit. Favorite characters. It's tough because there's so many. I mean, some standout ones. I feel.
Aaron Fox.
Actually, yeah. So I found that I'm thinking about it. So the characters that I found really fun to play were the ones that generated kind of real emotions from you lot, and hopefully stuff like this will track being a viewer. But like Aaron Fox being just trying to think, when you first met him, was it pre-YouTube?
Pre-YouTube.
It was pre-YouTube. It was at Jester's Green when we were on our way to Suzelle for the first time.
Yeah, so he appeared level 6, and at the time it was just like, hi, I'm a friendly hippogriff knight, and you were all like, what's his story? What's wrong with him? He's going to betray us.
Yeah.
No.
Is he helping us?
Half reacted like that, and the rest of us thought he was a smoke show.
Dreamy.
Like, literally,
Julia, I think we were the only one who was genuinely
no. In my defense, Dan showed the picture of this good-looking guy with coiffed hair, like with his hippogriff, like doing this, and with his lance, and just being all like, "Hi." And the first thing that came out of Anton's mouth was, "Dreamy."
There you go.
Like it took a long time to sort, and maybe I didn't succeed, but it felt like it took a long time for me to convince you. Like, no, Aaron's just a good bloke. Like even
when we were in the home, and he was like, "Here's his child," and everyone's like,
"This is a single child, literally holding his baby."
Talking about his charity work.
He's a baddie.
What's the quote from Lord of the Rings? It's like I think an enemy, an agent of the enemy wouldn't appear so foul. They would seem fair, but foul within. Right. And I think we had that sort of reaction with Aaron. It's like, he's too good looking. He's too good. He has the baby. Who did he steal the baby from? It's like...
I was such a movie for so long. I remember going into the trial of the Silver Swords. I was still, why is he here? Why is he helping? Especially because, and I'm not sure if I should be mentioning this because of the music, but by accident he started playing the Bloodborne Emissary song when he turned up, and I knew it.
Very confirmed.
Yeah.
He's an alien. I knew
it. Well, thankfully, you all took to him by the end of it and didn't just like strand him in.
Playing him.
Just you didn't leave him in the Shadowfell. So yeah, Aaron, top of my list. What was his name?
Helenis?
The pit fiend from the tavern.
Oh yes.
Tarkalon.
Karkalan.
Karkalan.
Yeah.
Which
Um,
again, Julia, you
I have
Daddy
a thing for
Taskmaster.
Dan's NPCs. What can I say?
So, in the grand scheme of things, Tarkalon didn't have that much to do with anything in the story. Like, let's be honest, he was very clearly the literal quest giver. But
Who gave out a lot of money for not very much, right?
gave out.
Wait, wasn't
that was
that
Varaxis, the Dragonborn?
Oh,
Varaxis,
But yeah, so
yeah.
Varaxis
Yeah.
paid Tarkalon. But yeah, just the
Mm.
idea that, because the tavern itself is supposed to be a weird and wonderful place, and I thought, oh, let's just have a pit fiend. Yeah, why not?
Which we never questioned, by the
You
way.
never questioned, not really. But
just the fact he had like the little glasses on his nose, just like
yeah, I really liked kind of turning that on its head, subverting that. That was really, really fun. We touched on it a bit earlier, the Lovecraft gnomes, Ferret and Mixie. There was just something about those two, and I think I might have mentioned this on camera before. I'm a little bit worried how easily I could fall into both of them simultaneously, like role playing the two of them simultaneously. I'm really pleased with them. I mean, they were just, I feel, yeah, like I say, there are a lot of, I think I rate the NPCs basically on kind of how well they kind of bounced off you lot, if that makes sense. Because like the NPCs that I felt that you lot kind of really engaged, really got to know, and really wanted to know, and obviously those are the NPCs that then got a bit more screen time and so on and so forth. But yeah, I say there was just so many. Like those 4, I guess, stand out. Because it'd be very easy for me to say Duke and the War Dogs and that, but no, it was those 3 that are like the unsung heroes, I feel.
I feel like there's be an extra special shout out to Ria Garabrel, because his dynamic with the team was just
I
chef's
flipping
kiss.
love Garabrel.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, just
the hatred just being pushed down and being like,
yeah, this is
theme.
this is an elf that stood as the BBEG for 4 levels, culminating with murdering a 10-year-old girl to then go, wait, no, actually he's a doppelganger, like he's a fake out. Oh, and this is a real guy and he's actually an alright bloke. Wait, what's happening?
But God, he hated us.
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, there was also just the best kind of, the group chat bits were so great,
Did
when
you
Badger's
just
just
put
like, Badger, oh my God.
I still
Just
love the
sentence.
line I still love the line of, did you just put me in a group chat with the bloody dog?
Yeah, it was fun to play that, like, I am at the top of my game, and like this this haughty high of just looking at you lot and just thinking, what is this chattel? What are these amateurs? Like, how did they really defeat a not me? Like, how is this a thing? Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think it's almost time to bring things to a close. Once again, like, thank you all. You've all put significant periods of your time and lives aside to play through this. So for that, I'm eternally grateful. I feel that the Cormyr campaign has been fantastic to run, and I really hope it's been fantastic to play in. Very sneakily, not for you, Steph, unfortunately, but everyone else has received a parcel. So, Carl and Tilda, you're going to have to do some quick rearrangement, but I would like you all to begin to grab your parcels and get ready to open them, because I want to do this on camera.
Oh.
The face.
That is a kid on Christmas Day right there.
Coles, Dan. It's Coles.
Imagine opens it up and it's just a note, fuck you.
You bastard.
Yeah, it's just a rubber cast of all of your middle fingers.
It's just, you open up and it's just
What?
a scroll that says, one long rest.
You think it's a finger, Dan?
Oh, thank you. I'm really glad I was recording that, because I can splice that in now. So yeah, if anyone wants to read out their message, feel free, but obviously you don't have to if you don't want to, because they are, personal.
Poisonal.
But yeah, Elle, you wanted to?
I like mine. I'm going to read it. It's Dear Elle, I spoke to the mushrooms. Even though the campaign is finished, poker night is still on Tuesday nights. DM done. Thank you.
Okay, so unless anyone else wants to read out,
I'll read mine out.
okay.
Dear Anton, I need you to promise not to lose your mind over this. It will be an out-of-body experience. DM Dan. Magic mushrooms. Thanks, Dan.
Clever.
So if everyone, and also, sorry, is there? I'm rich with gifts. Is there one I should open alongside you lot?
Not really. Just
Okay,
open any of them.
I'll open the big one. By all means, go nuts. You may open your parcels.
Okay.
Ooh.
I hope it's food.
What
Although
did you have? What did you eat?
It has been here for about a month, so. Oh, okay. Okay. Ooh, shit.
Oh, I wish I was more patient and just took it off properly rather than trying to rip it off.
And Julia's ahead of time, so she doesn't need to open a box.
No.
Oh wow! Even painted. Oh wow!
Wow! Look
The-
at that!
One problem with playing online is that you don't get to have a physical representation of your miniature.
So cool.
That's
So-
amazing!
I thought it
Isn't
was
it?
only prudent if I went ahead and printed and painted.
Oh.
How did you make a Balthazar?
Hang on,
Did you ask Fern and Mixie to make me one?
Find my proper camera.
Okay. I'm struggling
that
to
is
get
stunning.
into my box. Yes, you. If it is the very least I could do for you lot. But as I say, we've spent ages looking at tokens and screenshots. But I thought, you know what? Generally speaking, after a campaign, we all kind of go away and have a model for our shelves.
Matt has entered the game.
So I've got a note here that says, Dear Matt, if you didn't see this coming, that makes this the first successful stealth mission. DM Dan, okay. Intriguing. See what we got. I did see this coming, so at least we've maintained the pie chart's integrity. Okay. Oh. What was that? Wow. Okay. Very good. Hopefully you can see that at home. Very handsome halfling and his orange eight-legged friend. Beautifully painted.
Oh,
Thank you very much, Dan. That's great.
You are more than welcome.
Look at little Drool! Drool with Katya!
Drool,
We got
yeah.
Drool
Oh, very
cool.
That
sweet.
is very.
Also,
very
not sure you
cool.
guys can see it,
Yeah.
but here I have these bolts next to him. Like Emily representation.
So cool.
This is amazing.
Oh, Dan got a Yoi
Oh,
mug.
yay!
Yay.
These are gifts from us to you, by the way, Dan.
Thank
From
you
all
so,
the
so
wilds.
much. Oh. Yeah. I say it was the very least I could do to get you the models to say thank you. But yeah, thanks so much. I'm just gonna real quickly open some of these so I can do this on camera.
Edit this out.
This
Edit
is
it all.
the only cup I'm going to drink out of now.
Dan, I'm assuming that massive is custom because I know there is no massives on Hero Forge.
I spoke to the lovely people at Hero Forge, and they put in a massive specifically for me, and then deleted it so no one else could have one.
Oh, yeah, this is the special order.
Oh my god, this is intense.
Very nice.
Amazing.
I
EOE
love how-
business cards.
I love how it's basically a merch review.
These are all in the gift shop,
Yeah,
right?
right.
These are all available in the EOE gift shop. Buy your own Balthazar right now.
So-
I was expecting this unboxing bit to just be you lot, but
No.
is this an EOE
What is that?
mouse mat?
Yep.
Might be.
Hey.
It has the wands on it, I think, right?
Super.
This really is like a kid at Christmas, isn't it?
Might be the last one, I think.
Yeah, it's the
No.
last one.
Expertly packaged by Julia. What is it?
Oh, this video.
It's a napkin.
Hey! Oh wait, that's the back. Hey!
There's the front. That's
Oh, that's
amazing.
amazing.
Very
Oh,
good.
thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
And don't forget that if you like, share, and subscribe and comment, you could become the new superfan and join the Warhounds on the next campaign debriefing. And
Yes,
you will have
absolutely.
to dethrone me as superfan. So yeah, please do.
Yes.
Please
Well-
give it your best.
Thank you for being such a devoted follower of ours, Steph.
Yes.
More
very
than
much.
happy to. Very much.
appreciated.
Hours of enjoyment.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Steph, I want to hear about your highlight or your favorite NPC from the campaign. What is your sum up of the whole campaign?
Well, very quickly, I loved Baz because everyone needs a super badass old man running around, and everyone loves that. But I think in terms of one character who didn't feature much, but as a DM with my own D&D group, one of the things I loved and the character I loved that was involved was Gandrahas, and the party's reaction to how terrible of an ally he was, only for Dan to then reveal obviously he wasn't actually an ally, and that was potentially the reason why he wasn't helping you. And pretty much that is the way that all D&D groups react to allies who aren't actually as good as they want them to be. They just insult him and say, well, what can you do? And no, you're rubbish. And then Dan just played a blinder and just said, all right, then fine. Yeah, he is rubbish because he's trying to be rubbish. And actually, he's going to cause this rift in the sky that just makes your lives really bad. And I thought that as a character was fantastic. So well done,
Then he
Dan.
went down like a sack
He
of
was
shit
awful.
anyway.
He was
Yeah,
Exactly,
that fight was so unfair, but I loved it so much.
I mean, what was Dan thinking with some of those combats? Like the single wizard against 6. I mean, come on, what's going on there, Dan? Explain yourself.
Well, this is
And Aiden was the same, so don't get me started.
I designed the combat.
Generous was a druggie.
Yeah, I designed the combats based on the narrative. No, the bit that well, I didn't realize that there were like 14 counter spells against the wizard until they all started coming out. But I was saying to Julia, Gamrahast was actually the first NPC to betray the party. Yet every NPC along the way be like, I bet he's a wrong un. I bet they're gonna say.
To be fair, Aiden did betray the party
I
first.
suppose, yeah. I suppose
Sharon
I suppose it was
Wizard.
Aiden. Yeah, that's
He was the
fair.
first one. He was the one that really confirmed our
Yes,
chronic
okay, yeah.
suspicions
That's
of all
fair. That's
NPCs.
fair. It's just war wizards, isn't it? They're just all wrong. And
I'm sure there was an insight check on Aiden that didn't go well, though, wasn't there? That Dan managed to get away with. I'm sure that when Aiden was walking through the town with Garabrail, someone did an insight check on Aiden and rolled low. And I bet the sweat running down Dan's forehead at that point was so
No, I think
narrow.
you did it on a technicality. I think one of us tried to insight him, and
something
you were
happened.
like, "He's telling the truth about what he wants you to do," or something like that. And we all went, "Oh, cool!" And he's
It was
good.
close. It was close. Yeah, and he got away with it. And
Yeah,
I love those kind of things.
Great.
in campaigns.
I did quite like quite a few of the moments where I think Dan had been kind of like, damn it. That threw me off a bit. I wasn't expecting that to happen. And he wasn't always tell because you were quite good at handling it because you just come full throttle with something really fully developed as if it was just
I'm
already
sure.
Sometimes you summon giant centipedes and no one is expecting that.
Yes, that's very, very true. I mean, there are a lot of surprises. I think if anyone was diligent enough to kind of scan back through the 44 episodes, there'll be more than one occasion where you'll see me go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yes. Right. With that, I think it's time to say our goodbyes. Once again, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. Championed by your the avatar of the planet, staff. Yeah. Yeah. It's been so much fun. It's been an honor to run this and kind of present this to you all. If you like what you saw, hit the like button and leave some comments down below. We have loads and loads of videos, so make sure to check those out. And spoilers, there's a new campaign coming, so make sure to subscribe for more news on that. We're going to I'm hard at work designing the new campaign. More details about that will be revealed in due time. Of course, we still have the Tavern Between Dimensions, which is coming out weekly. Between now and the end of the year, I suspect we're going to be releasing a series of one-shots and kind of more light-hearted stuff. So yeah, so hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to get notifications of when they come out. So with that said,
3 cheers for the Warhounds.
thank you. Yes, hip hip.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray! And many more.
Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Toodaloo.
Bye-bye.